I'm Maggie Kast.
So Maggie, when you write, do you have a routine for writing? Do you have a way that you approach it? Do you write every day?
Well, I get up early, so I usually get up around 5:30 or so, and so I write for the first couple hours of the day. If I write something, then it feels good, and if I don't, it feels definitely like something is missing.
Do you incorporate movement or dance when you are writing? Because it is so expressive in your work. There's so many physical moments.
Well, I feel like the kinesthetic sense is something that a lot of writers would benefit by adding to their sort of repertoire of sensory details that you can use in writing. So there's the 5 senses, that we all know. But I think the kinesthetic sense, which is the perception of movement from the inside, is very important. How things feel in your body. So it's very important to me as a writer. Well, I actually use the senses that a dancer has in knowing where he or she is in space. So that's really what the character is doing. She's moving in the world the same way that she might move on the stage, where you have to be exactly aware of where you are and where everybody else around you is, so that you feel like you have, the phrase that I used was like having eyes in her hips and shoulders. And that is what it feels like. It's as though you had perceptive organs in different parts of your body. And so that you can feel where other people are and where you are.
The Earth Harp story, in your memoir, you tell it as the true story, or what really happened. And then in Side by Side, you tell the imagined ending. And how did you decide to tell both? And did you feel any pang or qualms about telling the truth or telling the imagined?
Well, actually, I love the distinction between fiction and nonfiction, and I made a point. I was delighted to be able to put it in print. I had used it in readings where I would read it one way and then I would say, now I'll tell you what really happened, and I love that. At the time when I was writing it, it was a very early story. I had a mentor at Vermont College where I was getting my MFA, and I wrote it the true way. And she said, you can't do that. That's too mean an ending. You're not going to be, you can't be like that. You should give it a happy ending. So I gave it the happy ending. She told me what to do. I did it. The son accepted it. That was good enough, But then I liked writing it the real way, and then I liked contrasting them. Because I really think that both versions have a certain kind of truth, one is imagined and hopeful, and the other is just the facts. When I wrote my novel, which was about the period of my parents meeting and getting married, I felt like I was bringing to life someone who had lived once, but who I had not known, my mother as a young woman. And that was something that I think she regrettably lost with maturity, and I wanted to bring that back to life. So that was a distinct motivation. It's just going to be different with everything. A lot of writing for me is writing to find out, writing to find out how people are, or how I feel about something, or how they might feel about something. There's 2 stories in the collection that are from Manfred's point of view. So when you write from the point of view of another person, and a person of another gender, and a person who is based loosely on your husband, you are writing to find out things about a person that maybe you've never been able to fully know, so you have to invent them.
In Side by Side, but never face to face, there's an exchange between Greta and Connor. And he says, I think it might be easier to take pure pleasure in a dance than in a poem. Words force us to look beyond themselves for meaning. A beautiful gesture can simply wake you up. And Greta thinks about some things and thinks in these words. She thought of Gertrude Stein's lament that words like moon and mountain no longer gave one moon or mountain. It seemed that Connor's way of thinking loosened up the too tight fit between worn-out words and things, giving her new paths to things themselves, the kind of paths that open up the nature of the real. And so curiosity is in revisiting characters like Greta, or like your mother imagined her youth in your novel, or in your memoir even of your story, does writing loosen things up, the too tight fit, or not?
I think I empathize with Gertrude Stein that it's hard to feel that words are fresh, and I think writers often feel, well, everything's already been said, which is not true, and it's not true in dance either. You know, there's always more to, because if you write to find things out, there's always more to find out.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions you would want me to ask you?
No, that is absolutely fabulous interview.
Thank you, Maggie, for a great conversation. I look forward to hearing more at your Women and Children First virtual reading on August 27th.